All right, everybody. This is my attempt to brute force my way into forcing all of my subscribers to leave. This will be since I can't do it at gunpoint. This is the only way I know how. By more uploads, more shitty podcasts, and more terrible memes and just more bad times for all. I'm spreading the misery for everyone. And what this show is from the title. I bet you're wondering what it is. Well, I've got with myself here some Zaxby's, and I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna eat some food, and I'm gonna talk about what's been going on, what's been going down. Mostly, probably internet content creation, but probably whatever. It'll be a tandem review. Basically, it'll be a comparison of what's been going on in my life to a review of whatever I'm eating at the time. And today, folks, we got some Zaxby's for the very first episode of Meaty, Maladies for a Maligned Misapprehension, and I gotta say, I'm a big Zaxby's guy. I like Zaxby's, you know. The thing about fast food is that it's such a universal experience, right? That despite how everyone knows it's bad, people go to it anyway, and more importantly, click on YouTube videos about fast food. Like, there's a reason why the report of the week is popular, you know? It's because everyone has eaten fast food just because it's like a social fucking institution, you know? And, yeah, that's why it's popular. That's why I'm here to bring this new exciting edge to the fast food review by adding some gonzo journalism, everybody's favorite meme, gonzo journalism. So, what I've got, I'll explain to you what I've got. It is the 4-piece chicken finger meal, which includes this awful garbage piece of toast, which is just destroyed in butter, and basically it's like not even bread anymore. It's just like a fucking cracker that you eat anyway, even though it's the worst part of the meal. Obviously, this comes with fries, 4 chicken fingers, and a pitiful amount of Zax sauce, which I don't know. You know, they hand it here. I was expecting, at least 2. But I opened it up, and it's this thing of Zax sauce. The top covered in disgusting amounts of grease. And, boy, it's just a bit depressing. So the reason I wanted to do this show is because I can't be inside anymore, you know? I'm tired of existing in the same 2 locations. I'm a college student. I don't have a car. I'm a college student. And, I go to maybe like 2 or 3 locations. I walk to work. I have like the 2 buildings that my classes are in. 2 are actually 3 buildings. And I have my own rooms, and that's all I do. Yeah, that's all the places I go, you know? It's like, on the rare occasions when I do have a car, it's like, obviously I have to go somewhere, you know? Because I can't fucking handle being in the same place all the time. It's like I could if I enjoyed being there, you know? I really could. But I'm not the biggest fan of the dorms there. Yeah, this chicken is really springy. So, as per the springiness and texture of this chicken, let's talk about something springy going on right now, which is, you know what? The springiness of fucking of YouTubers, of YouTube reviewers. Fucking John, Matthew Matosis recently, and like basically a lot of people do this for some reason. I have no clue why. Is they leave YouTube for like 8 months, and then they come back. It's like the same effect as the reboot channels, or reboot movies, or like, you know, bringing back a series. Like when Star Wars came back, you know, no one would have been as excited if the next Star Wars movie came out like a year or like 3 years after the last prequel movie. But instead, you know, they just not, you know, they waited, essentially. And, you know, obviously, at the time, they hadn't planned to do anymore. So here's the deal, is basically no one, I don't care that you're back on YouTube, you know. What I care about is how good your content is, you know? And how much you've changed. And inevitably, after 8 months of not putting out anything, you will have changed. But, and obviously JonTron has changed a lot from his old game reviews. His style, his humor, very different. But, you know, after Matthew Matosis, you know, came back, it's like, it just seems like good old Matthew Matosis again, which I really appreciate, you know. It's like, I didn't even think about it at the time. Didn't even think about it at the time. But he is not any, I would say, I don't know. He's either a little bit better or just exactly the same in terms of his writing. Obviously, he hasn't upped the editing in his channel, because that would basically defeat the point of his channel. I'll get into talk about Matthew Matosis later, but really, it was really comforting to see him come back and essentially have the same sort of appeal, as opposed to JonTron, whose appeal is, I think, wildly different. You know, his style is more like H3 now, even though I don't watch a lot of H3. But it definitely feels like an overproduced version of H3's channel, even for the few H3 videos I've seen. Alright, so I've had a few bites of this Zach sauce. And it's really tangy. Which I like. It tastes good with chicken. But So Zach sauce is really just a spin-off of singular sauce that whose name I don't know. It might be similar to like Thousand Island dressing or something like that. I don't know. But there's a similar sauce at Guthrie's, and there's a chain of restaurants in the old town I used to live in. I forget what it was called. But they had a similar sauce. And really, what's wrong with Zaxby's sauce is that it's too tangy. It's too flavorful. It just tastes like one big tang, like dumpster truck, you know? Hitting you. well, not really hitting it, you know, it's more like lightly, softly tapping on the shoulder. But what that old restaurant I'm talking about was that it had more sort of a nuance than just the tang to it. Obviously, the tang is the main appeal, but there's more nuance to the flavor. But it's been so long since I've eaten there. Probably, at this point, like, over a year. I forgot to mention what I drink. It's root beer, which is probably one of the best drinks you can get at a fast food restaurant. Alright, back to Matthew Matosis. What I was going to say before, when I was thinking about him, is no one can copy Matthew Matosis right. Like, there's so many Matthew Matosis copies. And it's not even that they are copies, it's just that he is a better version of what those copies are doing. And what I'm talking about is the script-focused, minimal editing analysis videos, either movies or games, even though Matthew Matosis does games. The reason those videos fail is because none of them are as skilled of a writer as he is. It would not surprise me if Matthew Matosis has been like trained, you know, has gone to school for some form of writing. Or he's talented, or he reads a lot, which seems to be the case. Like, with how much he mentions outside sources, the guy does his research, and he reads a lot. You can really tell that when he like, especially with his Dust Force review, which I just watched, he mentions the guy brings up like the reviews, like the overall consensus of reviews for Dust Force, which means he's read a lot of Dust Force reviews, you know? It's like, it's something I respect, you know? Because he went out of his way to examine the landscape of the Dustosphere, because the whole point of the video was that Dust Force was underrated, you know? So to me, it seems like he sort of researched the video, and like, developed the idea of the video in his mind as he consumed more content based on Dust Force, you know? He had his analysis at the end, or in the beginning, and then at the end he goes over sort of the review landscape. And he sort of ties it to this larger point, which he's making about game reviews in general, and how game reviewers should review, which is just, you know, it's just great. His point about that, like the reason that everyone fails at being a Matthew Matosis styled analysis channel. I don't know. I'm sure there are people out there like him who are just as good, but I don't know any in terms of what he does. His style. The reason is because no one has as many things interesting to say and can do it in as much density as Matthew does. Like, basically no one. Not that I've, it's like the analysis channels that I'm thinking of, I've seen maybe one or two videos of. But Matthew is always making an interesting point. He doesn't make a video if he doesn't have an interesting point to make. You know, that's why, probably, if I had to guess why he left, even though he's popular, right? You know, he's making a living off his videos now. And, you know, I really appreciate that because he's one of my favorite YouTubers. Definitely on my 9x9. But so many people try to copy him and keep consistent uploads, even though he himself doesn't keep consistent uploads. You know, maybe it's not that he only has interesting things to say, you know, or whatever. And maybe it's more that he only uploads videos when he has interesting things to say, you know? That's what I said earlier, but what I mean is he doesn't force himself to make videos. You know, and with his upload schedule being so inconsistent, like, it wouldn't surprise me if that was true. Like, these other channels that are like him, that are somewhat successful, feel like they always have to be putting out videos. And the problem with that is, you know, there's a limit to how many interesting points are inside your head. So obviously, if you're making videos all the time, it's not going to be as interesting for, you know, for anything. You're going to run out of interesting things to say. Matthew Matosis only does video on things that he has interesting things to say about. It's like, other people just do whatever suits the algorithm. Literally, because that's the only way to get any views on YouTube now. Either that or, like, have an established user base already before YouTube fucking destroyed itself. So, yeah, people are chasing the algorithm. They're chasing what's trendy, even though they don't. Like, I watched some Black Panther review. I think it was yesterday, and it's just the guy going through every inane detail of things that were just a bit off or like factually incorrect or that wouldn't make sense. You know, it's like he made the criticism that because it wasn't realistic, it was bad. He made this point about how because the society was so advanced, they wouldn't be deciding the Black Panther's kingship or whatever by trial of blood or like by trial of combat or whatever. It's like he was like, that's not realistic. No advanced society would do that. It's like, whatever, dude. It's a movie. I get that. I get that nitpick, you know. Because at the same time, these Marvel movies are taking themselves way too seriously. And I haven't even seen Black Panther, you know. I just watch fucking analysis videos all day. Or at least in my free time. But that point is innocuous. Basically. Because it isn't real life. It doesn't have to be real life. And that's like the least interesting thing you could say about it. This movie about fucking superpowered superheroes fucking up shit like being demigods isn't realistic. Oh my god. Thank you for pointing out such an obvious fucking point. It's not interesting, you know? And that's why Matthew Matosis is the greatest, because he actually says things that are interesting. Like, blows my fucking mind how many interesting things he says in a video. And in 2 minutes, it's like bouncing from one point to another basically flawlessly, about the interesting aspects in a game, and that build to a larger point about something. Like, almost every time. Like, man, I don't know. I feel like at this point there is, because analysis videos are so big, there is a pop analysis video. It's like I'm not even sure. I wonder if that's an oxymoron. Should analysis videos have pop appeal? Really? Not everyone's an artist, you know? The reason analysis videos are compelling is because it can teach you something about art or how to consume art. Not everyone's into it that far, you know? It's like people like Nerdwriter. I don't dislike Nerdwriter. But I really feel like his videos come at it from a pop aspect. They feel more like a Watch Mojo or like a fact video, you know? As opposed to Matthew Matos's videos, which really dig deep. It's like, I understand Nerdwriter doesn't do 30-minute analysis videos. I'm done with my chicken. I understand why Matthew Matos's does 30-minute analysis videos. Or why Nerdwriter does 10-minute ones, you know? It's like, what's financially beneficial for him? And it's like, should your series on how to consume art better, and what makes art good, what makes art work, really bend the will of money and livelihood? Should it? I don't know. I don't know if it should or shouldn't. I'm not gonna tell anyone they're being immoral or whatever, because I obviously don't think that. But here's the deal. The deal is that I don't know what the deal is. If I were smart, hey, maybe if I knew what the deal was, I could be a fucking G and make a YouTube analysis video and actually get views. And then win, and then make money. It's like, I completely understand why Nerdwriter does that. I understand why these videos are the way they are. Because, heck, I mean, I'd love to be making the amount of money he does, doing the work he does, you know? I'd love that. Maybe this is just me bitching about what's successful on YouTube now is not what I want to do. It's like, Digibro posted this video earlier about, you know, how you don't need YouTube. But its ultimate conclusion was that you kind of have to use YouTube to promote yourself no matter what. You know? So it's like, as I'm trying to figure out, as I'm actually trying to be fairly competent at video editing, and like fairly competent at making, like I wrote that Hitamari sketch video, and like in 15-20 minutes. Like it was not anything I tried hard at. I mean, the editing took a while, you know. But at some point, I kind of gave up on trying to do interesting bits throughout it. But whatever, who cares? Who cares? No one cares about my videos, so I don't want to talk about them. Ouch. So yeah, man. It's like, okay. Digibro's video is no one can get into YouTube now. Now it's like extremely hard to break in. You have to wiggle your way through social circles. So I don't even know how to start doing that. Do I want people to watch my shitty garbage videos? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what I'm doing this channel. I really don't. It's here for me to fuck around with. That's it. It's like I'm learning how to do stuff. Whatever. I gotta get off this topic. Back to YouTube analysis. A lot of them have become overbloated, I think. I really think it should be just the interesting points, and that whatever is required to make those interesting points. And if that requires a scene by scene breakdown, then do it. But if it doesn't need to be broken down scene by scene for a movie, don't do it, dude. Come on. It's like, is YouTube analysis a fading sort of thing, you know? It's like, even then, it's like, what do you do? There are YouTube analyses, and then there are analyses that are more experimental, like Endless Chess. Now, his videos aren't popular, and I don't know of anyone remotely like him that sort of does a narrative in his analysis videos, and relating to analysis in such a way that he does. So it's like, how do you add entertainment value to that? I don't know. Geez. It's like, well, Matthew Matosis has a solution, and it's that the only things he says are interesting. He only makes points in service of making a grander point that is something to think about. That is something to ruminate over. And it's like he's really great at that. I don't even know how he does it. You know, because I don't feel like I've never, like, I watched his Sonic video, and I feel like I've never had his thoughts as interesting as his ever. Now maybe that's just me being, you know, because it's like I'm in my head all the time. I have the same thoughts, and I think about new things or whatever. But obviously, I'm not going to find the things I think which are kind of mildly interesting me, because I have a way of thinking. Like if someone said something interesting I thought and I had never thought of it, I would find that interesting. So what I'm saying is, because I know myself, maybe the things I think aren't as interesting to me as they are to other people. So if I made a genuine analysis video, like I had this video thing I've been thinking about, like I wrote up, my job like facilitates me sitting down and thinking, so I wrote like in my head I wrote like a fucking Dust Force analysis, which was probably somewhere around 1,000 words. Obviously I don't want to sit down and write that. And if I'm there for like 3 hours or so, I'm not gonna remember that because I don't have like an opportunity to write it down as I'm thinking about it. And then, like, I've been thinking about making a Donkey Kong Country 2 analysis, because I love that game, and I really think I understand it well enough to make a big old Donkey Kong Country 2 analysis. But that's the deal, you know. It's like whether or not I have anything interesting to say, and whether or not it'll get views, which it won't. It's like I don't understand how anything gets views anymore. I don't understand how YouTube works. It's like, should you or should you not tag your video with something? There's a option for tags. Does that actually do anything? I don't fucking know. There's no information about it as far as I can tell. Yeah, here's the... Oh, I had another point in mind, too, that I wanted to segue to. Jeez. Yes. So I wanted to make this point about Matthew Matosis again. I guess this is the Matthew Matosis cast, because, well, I'm more or less using him as an example, though, is the ratio to clean to dirty on content creators. Matthew Matosis is the cleanest content creator out there on the internet. You know, he makes clean, even when he does more risque stuff, like his Sonic video. It was handled in a very respectable manner. And like, you look at the guy's Patreon, he doesn't lock content. He has specifically said he won't take games that people get. He won't take freebies. He won't take, like, anything. He won't take, like, a free passes to events. He wants to be impartial. Like, completely, perfectly impartial. And I think that's something admirable, because that's not something a lot of people are willing to do. He doesn't advertise anything. I think he's explicitly stated that he will never take a sponsorship. And that he will never lock content behind a paywall, essentially. Which is, as opposed to other people, like, who, I would say, Mother's Basement, someone who really, really does sort of shill a lot, and their content is pretty unclean. He has unscripted segments in his videos, he's got other stuff, like on-camera appearances that aren't perfect. Matthew Matos's videos are so clean. There's nothing there that Matthew doesn't want you to see, Every, instance of footage is put there for a reason. But with someone who, gets on camera, maybe best guy ever, too, even though he's got something in the corner, there is space there that you're probably not supposed to be looking at. I.e., the bottom left corner. That's just his wall, You're not supposed to look there. But with Matthew Matos's he puts stuff there, which you're supposed to look at, which is always gameplay footage, and almost always illustrating his point. Except for maybe his Devil Daggers review, which I saw recently. Even then, it's kind of hard. He makes a lot of abstract points there, so it's like, what are you going to do about that? So I wouldn't say that makes it any less dirty than something like his Super Mario Sunshine review, which has, a lot of examples of specifically what he's talking about, like when he says, here are the glasses that make things brighter or less bright and not give kids headaches, and that's what happens. That he discusses that as a method for reducing eye stress, and then that happens on screen. And that's basically every time something can be illustrated in the game while he's talking about it, that's what he does. As opposed to someone else who might do something a bit more edity, like actually illustrating it via their edits. For example, in Hypocrites, Rayman is the hardest game ever, he has these segments that are sort of a parody of Canon Coec, where he moves Rayman's sprite around via an editing program to illustrate his point, because that was the funny thing to do, that it's a funny idea that he has. It's a joke, and it illustrates his point a little bit, possibly a little bit better than what he would have done with either hand, which would have been to just show it in the game, which he could have done, but he would have had to slow down footage or whatever. Yeah. So what really this comes down to is Matthew Matosas never takes any risks to screw up. He stays sort of in his field, which is writing, which is what he's good at, and then minimal video editing. Now, I think a ratio in clean to dirty is that my channel is one of the dirtiest fucking channels on the internet. Compared to when I read his Patreon, Matthew Matos's Patreon, it's he has enough of a following to do what he wants and to stay out of advertisements and things like that. And his attitude of saying exactly what he would purchase with the money you gave him was both admirable, transparent, and just maybe even a bit unnecessary, because I think people understand what he would spend his money on, That's the thing, is that other channels don't do that, though. So it isn't necessarily a moot point for him to do it, because not a lot of people even think about that. He's trying to be as transparent as possible with everything. He wants to be impartial, transparent, things like that, almost like a politician, except Matthew Matos is actually interesting and and cool. Matthew Matos is a cool version of what a politician would be. He's cleaner than politicians too. And getting back to my channel being the dirtiest fucking channel on the planet is that I put up nothing but low effort, thought experiment content. It's basically like a thought experiment for what my content could be going in the future. And I sort of test that out. I test the waters. It's like, I don't want to say the variety I'll say this. The variety is more, there's more variety on my channel than the vast majority of YouTube channels, I would say. Maybe not, maybe that's being unfair, I don't know. Maybe that's not true at all. But in terms of, like, popular YouTube channels, they put out one thing. They do one thing. In one way. On their channels. But, and I do lots of things, and none of them are good. That's mostly because I'm experimenting, trying to figure out what I can do, and then just sometimes I'll have an idea, and then I'll put it on the channel. It's like no one cares either way. It's like, possibly, if I ever get successful in the future, then I will have, it'll just be my stuff, and then if people find it, they'll know it's me. I probably won't even link to it. I would say it's similar to, like, a pony era, of the PCP, you know? Almost similar, except they were actually producing content and I'm not. But I will definitely look back on these days and be embarrassed of them. That's what I mean. I will look back on all the stupid stuff I'm doing right now, trying to figure out who the fuck I am and what the fuck I'm doing with my creative ability, which is small, which is a minimal amount that I have to fucking spread thinly. Otherwise, I will want to not be around because I don't feel like doing anything else. So, like, people can get successful with heady content, I guess, and I'm interested in making heady content. I mean, geez, I spent like an afternoon making a fucking video that I might not even release. It's like, why should I? Because no one's gonna watch it, but at the same time, it's like, well, if I get it on there and I don't have that computer anymore, I'll have access to those videos that I made. And I'll be able to look back on it and go, like, in the moment I can analyze it and say, where do I need to go from here? But at the same time, I feel like I'm so wrapped up in my work that it's hard to self-analyze. It's pretty hard, because I think I turn my head off then. I either hate it or I'm okay enough with it to put it out. And then immediately after I hate it, and then I won't even bother to try and analyze why, Because it's like, well, it's a pretty personal thing to do, I guess. It's something I should do, and if I was in a better mood if I had a better mood with my tude, I'd be able to do it without feeling so fucking shitty. And, well, I don't know, I just want to do something cool on the internet already. It's like, I just want to do something cool on the internet already. And I have to fucking inculcate myself into a group. Somehow. What group? I don't know. It's like, I don't heckin' know. Somehow. Oh, yeah. Like, in terms of being dirty, what I mean is that I'm not afraid to put shit on my YouTube channel. That's what I mean. I put shit there. That's what it's for. It's for garbage. That's why it's dirty. Matthew Matosis is clean. Everything he does is good. Everything he does, he's a beautiful man. I don't know that. I've never seen his face, but I'm sure he's an excellent-looking person. All right. That's it. That's it for Meaty Maladies for a Maligned Misapprehension.